Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Operation status quo. How we doing today out there? Hope you guys are feeling good here. It's a holiday. I think it's a holiday, right? It's I don't really participate in that regard anymore, but I do believe it's a holiday. The President's Day. I think that was a good why I chose the topic and everything I'm going to talk about today. I figure it would be very appropriate to do it on President's Day, right, ladies and gentlemen? I am Pete Palma. I am your user-friendly host. Hello and welcome. Thank you for returning, or thank you for checking it out if it is your first time here. I am Pete Palma, your user-friendly host. Did I say that part already? I don't know. I forget sometimes. I speak so quickly. You do know this is the live stream of consciousness, so I'm never really sure what exactly is going to come out of my mouth when and how, but eventually, if you watch the whole episode, it all always winds up kind of working out together. This is Operation Status Quo, the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, most importantly, we learn to create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. So what are you doing out there today to create your own flow of quo and live the life that you would like to live? Because quite honestly, if you're not living your own flow of quo, then you're living someone else's flow of quo. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a no-no. It's a no-no. You don't want to do that. You want to live somebody else's flow. That's why we do what we do here on Operation Status Quo, because we want to live our flow, All right. A few things before I get started into today's topic, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I want to just mention in the background, let's see if I can point. I got to look at my screen. No, I'll do it this way. See that? There we go. See the Smokey the Bear sign back there? I made a little short yesterday, so go on Operation Status Quo. Just go into the shorts section. I don't know why. It's really a crazy little thing. It's nothing big, but I laugh my ass off every time I watch it. I don't know why. It's just really funny to me. So go check out my Smokey the Bear short. It's really funny. I was actually kind of like meditating yesterday. I was kind of sitting and with my thoughts and just kind of I was in here. I was just laying on the floor and just kind of absorbing and being one with the universe. And then when I kind of brought my attention back, I looked at the Smokey the Bear sign, and what I did in that short was the first thing I thought of. And I just I come out of meditating and then I do that. It's like, I don't know. That's if you can understand that, then you can understand and appreciate Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So I wanted to mention that. Oh, and before I get into it, one last thing. I'm going to mention this at the end, so stick with me to the end. I do have a Mark Drost update, ladies and gentlemen. We do try to do our little toast to Drost during these episodes at times because of anyway, I'll talk about it more at the end. We have a Mark Drost update, so I'll get into that. All right, so today's topic. Well, first of all, let me say that today is the 17th of February in the good year 2025, and today's program is entitled Trim the Phat. That's right. And I spelled fat with a PH, P-H-A-T, because I think it's so fat that they're firing everybody in the government. I love it. I love it. I'm going to tell you all this stuff. I can't wait. Now, hold on. Here come the liberals. They're a little bit upset. I don't even care I don't know why I'm saying liberals. I consider myself more of a liberal than anything else. Stop complaining and crying and whining. Nobody wants to hear it, for God's sake. Don't you understand? Give us a break. Give us a damn break. All right, everybody out here. Everybody out. All right. Yes, today's program is entitled Trim the Phat. And I want to say that I'm going to preface this because, here on Operation Status Quo, even though we bust chops on different things or point things out or, it can even be somewhat, I don't want to say controversial or insulting, although it could be. It just depends on who you are and your perspective on how I'm speaking. But basically, ladies and gentlemen, this is a topic that kind of would trigger me, as it were, the same way Mark Drost triggers me. But we know that everything in our life is reflections back, right? There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. Everything that plays out in the physical is, merely teaching tools and such. I want to preface before I start with that, because obviously I'm going to go on a tirade a little bit, but I wanted to, because the truth is, what would be the point of the show overall to come on every time and say, well, in our day-to-day life and everything, nothing matters, right? Because everything is just a reflection, which is true. Nothing here is real. Nothing here is to be taken that heavily and seriously, because it is an existence that we chose. It's an interplay of multitudes of energies. Even though we're in different bodies, we're all really of the same ilk, as it were. So, there's really no enemies. Even if somebody is perceived as an enemy in your life, or whatever, it's it's not really that they're an enemy. That's the soul contract that you and that individual chose to work. And even whatever it is in your life that you find to be a negative aspect, or something that you feel is pressing you in the wrong way, it is still something that you've agreed to and chose. And I will preface also to say, with what I'm about to talk about, that although I think the federal government is total crap and the job that I worked was total crap, aside from that, I am thankful because, as I reflect, because it's not about Pete, right? I say this all the time. You got to take Pete out of it. We got to take Pete out of it, the ego side, and look at the bigger picture of what's happening. I can look back and reflect and see the time that I did spend in that job, how it shaped me and helped me to be in the position I am today. Although, anyway, that's a whole nother. So let me just get into it. Trim the fat, ladies and gentlemen. So as we know, they're firing tons of people in the government, right? Which is great. Well, they had the buyout thing, and now they're going to be laying people off and all that stuff and what's going on. So basically, I started working for the Department of the Navy back in 2008, and I was a contract specialist, right? So basically worked in procurement. My job was to support a group of engineers. Don't get me started on engineers. But anyway, my job was to support a group of engineers to buy supplies and services for the maintenance of the ships, the fleet, right? So that's basically what my job was. So, sounds nice, sounds interesting, sounds important, all that, right? Now, the first thing they taught I'm saying all this to give a background so you understand why the importance of firing the entire government and why I believe in it so much. So first of all, one of the very first classes we went to was, contracting. Well, it was the first class, Contracting 101. And the basics of that was, and they pounded it into your head in that class, that we as contract specialists were the stewards of the American taxpayer, right? Stewards to the dollar, of the taxpayer for the spending of the money. It was up to us to make sure that the money was spent in a reasonable, fair, just way, so that it is appropriate for the American people paying taxes for the services and such. Okay, so that's what they taught. Then you work in the office, and that's the last thing on anybody's mind. That's the last thing on anybody's mind, especially when the end of the fiscal year would come in September, and all these people just wanted to dump money so they can keep their budgets for the next year. They were dumping money left and right on all kinds of contracts that had absolutely nothing to do with the work that the contract was supporting. So it was really just to dump the funds, whether they got spent or not, utilized, I don't know, but either way, they were obligated on contracts so they can say, quote unquote, that they were spent, so that they could get their budget for the next year. And this is what really was crazy to me about the whole thing all the time. Like, the office was always so proud of how many dollars they can obligate in a year. Oh, we obligated $900 million, right? And they're like, it's like a big deal. Like, they're happy. Like, to me, I'd be like, not for anything. Wouldn't it be better if we obligated nothing? We obligated nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Hold on. I gotta go over here so I have some extra buttons to press. If we obligated nothing, then send the money back to the taxpayers, right? Hey-o. I would basically always say, if do you really need it or not? Because people would come to me sometimes and they'd be like, oh, well, can we put this over here? Can we put that over there? And I'd be like, well, do you really need what you're purchasing, or do you not need what you're purchasing? Or what's, because you knew it was like a money laundering operation. And it's funny because we used to have like workload reviews, like especially during the end of the fiscal year, like every week, every day. Where do we stand with obligating these funds? What are you doing with the contract? Blah, 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 right? and I remember I went into one of those meetings one time and I said, no one here, please don't worry. All the funds I have are being properly laundered. They're being properly laundered in the legal fashion that we say, and everybody knows it's true, but they do it anyway. And it's just a crazy thing. And then after the fiscal year is over, right, they'll go back and review some of the contract folders. And then they'll give like the employees like myself a hard time. Like, oh, well, why did you put this money on contract? They go, well, I don't know, dummy. Maybe because you told me to. Because you said we got to spend the money. We got to spend the money, dummy. That's why I did it. And then you're going to come back and question me. Hey-o. It was like the big boss. I'm just going to call the big boss because I don't want to, I like to protect the lives of the innocent. But the big boss, I'm just going to call Miss McNuggets. Miss McNuggets, because she used to basically just stay in her office all the time with a big bag of McDonald's, I guess like a satchel McDonald's, and just stay in the office all the time, stuffing her face with McDonald's and candy, And I always thought if I really needed her attention or help, I could just leave a trail of chicken nuggets like to my desk. And I know eventually she would get there. I'm sorry. You see, I told you this was going to get insulting. I knew it was. I knew it was going to get insulting. I'm sorry. Here they come. Here they come. They're looking for me. I know. I told you. No, the chicken McNuggets are over there. The chicken McNuggets are over there. So anyway, it's just I worked with such. I don't even want to say like everybody. I don't mean like everybody's so stupid, right? But like the whole process of the plays, everybody's fake. Right off the bat, because everybody has to pretend to fit in this little realm of shit that doesn't mean anything, to do work that doesn't mean anything. This is what people don't realize too about being not fired, but, being laid off or the government shutting down. Because I've spoken to a few people that I used to work with, and I could tell a couple of them are agitated, talking about, oh, good people are getting hurt. It's like, good people are not getting hurt. Okay. Good people are being helped because people don't even realize they're being freed from a system that is keeping them suppressed. Like you're working some stupid government job that they create a bunch of nonsensical paperwork for you to shuffle around all the time. They don't want anything to get done, right? They just want to keep dumping them. They want a place to funnel the money. That's all it is. So they just keep spinning things round and round and round. And people spend their whole day sitting there think they're accomplishing something by writing a business clearance or awarding some contract. They really think they're doing something, and they take it so seriously. And then, on top of it, the like I was saying, the way people treat each other in that kind of environment, it's like everybody wants to be I don't know, show off. I don't know what they want to be. I don't know why they want to be ingratiated or viewed as some grand thing for doing something so useless, meaningless, and soulless, but whatever. And then who's telling on people? I mean, the whole day in there is like, who's telling on you? If you took a long lunch, or you have the one supervisor that if you showed up at 7 o'clock, if you showed up at 7:02, but put 7 o'clock on the timesheet, he's deducting you time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like that's all they care about was time and training, stupid trainings that meant nothing. That's all they were up your ass about, like all the time. Oh, did you put your time in? Did you put your time again? Because they just want to spend money, right? They just want to waste the money, spend the money, time, training, time, training. But we go back to Contracting 101, when Contracting 101 talks about being stewards of the taxpayer dollar, and we do nothing in the office that represents that. It's so funny because like even the Miss McNuggets, supposed to be the big boss, that's a person that could shut it down and say, no, we know that you're not utilizing these funds properly, or we're not going to accept the parameters, or we're not going to work. But she knows that they'll just take that money and dump it somewhere else, and basically they might even go over her head to the captain or to somebody else, and then they'll come back to her and say, no, just obligate the money. So at the end of the day, there is no integrity in the job, and that's why I'm so glad to see. Like I feel like a little piggy rolling around in fresh mud, because I was treated like crap there all the time, and and I'm so glad. I had a few people that I was close with there, and if it wasn't for them, I never would have made it past like a year or two, and I wound up like 15 years, and I can think back and I think about sitting in that cubicle all the time and how miserable I was, and I was always in trouble because you see my personality, you can't keep me contained like that. I used to go to them all the time. and talk about aspects of my personality that I felt would be useful for different functions in the office. Like, I'm better at this and I'm good at that and I can do this and I can do that. Oh, no. You're a such and such and you have to do this, and it's just like, that is exactly what we're all trying to break free from here. And that's what Operation Status Quo, is all about. It's all about encouraging people to break free from those type of thought processes. You don't have to just because what they say, You know what I'm saying? Like, they come up with this shit and then tell you got to be this. And then if you don't fit into that box, you're a jerk for it, which makes absolutely no sense. And that's why when everything happened with the fake pandemic, it was to me, like I always say, it was the last straw basically. And it started that awakening at that time started the journey, which prompted me to, eventually move down here to Florida and, I did work. I left that job with the Navy and I did work a couple others from home when I got down here to Florida. I jumped like 3 more jobs and just, whatever, use them for a year or so and just kept jumping around because I had no intention of ever awarding another contract or doing anything. I just, figured might as well milk the system till I get settled. And then I decided that's it. I'm done. Whatever comes my way, comes my way. I don't even want to be part of it anymore. I'm just so proud of myself that I walked away from it as opposed to like these people who have to be forced away from it or are scared to leave it. It's like, I always knew it wasn't for me. And again, this is just me speaking from, my perspective, right? So, and the way my personality is, everybody's different. Are there good people in the government that do a good job? I'm sure there are, but at the end of the day, even if they're good people doing a good job, the job they're doing is not necessary. It's a construct. It's a creation to create busy work, to keep you occupied, to keep you away from being your true self. So I really feel what's going on right now with all these government layoffs and such is just, it's magical. It's a dream come true to me because I've always said the whole government should shut down. I used to say it all the time when I was working in the office. When I first started in that office in 2008, I think we had about, I think it was like, just say 25, maybe 30 at the most, 20, just say 25, people that were, working that office. And we did everything, all the work and obligated close to $1 billion. I think the 1 year, we did do $1 billion. By the time I left, the office had grown to about 150 people with multiple departments, and we were doing like half, obligating like half, maybe 2/3, whatever you want to say, but like a little better than half of what we were obligating previously, which is 25 people. And I always would say, the freaking government can get rid of like 2/3 of everything of all the employees and do triple the work, because the only reason we had more employees was because they kept creating more loopholes, kept creating more steps, more whatever, just to go. It's like, oh, well, this document has to be reviewed by this, and then after it's reviewed by this person, blah, blah, blah. That's like when I used to do my work, I didn't even give a shit. I threw the shit together. It has to go through legal, has to go through policy, blah, blah, blah. You're paying me all this money. If you don't trust me to do it, no problem. You know what I mean? So here, I'll throw some shit together. You guys are going to have to, prove that you're big mahafs anyway. So you're going to have to put all your red ink all over it. So you know what? Do it from the beginning. Save me time. Why are you wasting my time? Let policy fix it. Let legal fix it. When they all get together, tell me what you want, and then, I'll push the button. It's like how stupid it is. So you're paying me and hiring me to be the specialist, and yet, I got to get approval from 6 other people for, So anyway, it's just, I don't know, the bottom line is, I think it's a wonderful thing what's happening. I've been waiting to talk about this for such a long time. It's like, I never really wanted to get into it too much, but, I'm finally free. I'm free. I'm never going back. I won't go back. Even if somebody called me today for another job, I won't go back. I'm done with that stuff. And that's why we're here together on Operation Status Quo doing these things. So, the government's just an example, for those that work in the government or maybe are upset about what's going on and fearing for your livelihood and such. Hey, all I can say is you have innate skills, talents, whatever they may be. You can create your own life, your own job, your own way, just by living true to who you are. I mean, true abundance in life comes from living true to who you are. It's not about going out trying to make money. It's about living true to who you are, and then it comes to you because you're following your life's path, the mission, right? Everything is, there is no time, space, just going back to all that stuff. Everything's oneness, right? So anyway, if you follow your path and do do your heart, the universe will work with you. You'll be supported, whatever that means. Everybody's so misguided. It's just like, anyway, I don't know. I'm just glad to see what's going on. And I just think about all the people I worked with during that time. There were some nice people, obviously, but so many people that were just, jerks, man, just smug jerks, and just the way some people, talk, they always wanted to put me down, in a sense, because I would never follow the system. I would never give in and just comply. I always had to do things in a different way. And that's why they didn't really like me. And they were mad. Really, a lot of them were mad at me too, because they knew I had the potential to be one of the higher ups. Of course, it's a moron job. Of course I could have been one of the higher ups. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not brain surgery here, just like basically, suck the ass in front of you and just keep on going, and you'll be fine. So I couldn't do any of that stuff. I refused to sell my soul, even though it took me a long time to really leave it. I was scared myself to leave over time. I wanted to leave forever. And I was just always like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But now, again, with COVID and the way the world has changed, it's like a fresh opportunity. And I say this to all of you. It's a fresh opportunity for all of us to create and to be what we want to be in these times as we move forward and the world changes. So trimming the fat, ladies and gentlemen. We got to trim the fat. It's so fat. I feel it's so fat that they're trimming the fat. Yeah. Go, Trump. Fire them all. Fire every last single person, please. Hey-o. Even the one guy, he was... I'll wrap it up kind of with this, because he was such a big mouth, the one guy. I remember when I first started, he's probably about 9 years older than me, so I was in my early 30s, so he was around and he was from that, he was in his early 40s, just say he was 40, and he was always telling war stories of the old days. I'm thinking, you're 40 years old, man, you're telling the war stories of the old days. But anyway, he's a guy that basically was just a suck up, and he had a buddy that was a higher up, so was always able to get him the next promotion. But he's I like the guy. I really think he's got a beautiful heart. If anybody I meet one-on-one, talk to one-on-one, I'm open to everybody. The show's the show, and I'll say things in certain ways, and I know I'm kind of lumping everybody in together, but even with Drost, and which I'm going to say in a moment, but I don't dislike Mark Drost. I don't dislike these people per se. I really don't dislike anybody. I can meet anybody on a one-on-one space with kindness, courtesy, compassion. But at the same time, this guy basically was like a meathead, like a big mope. And, all he cared about was coming in and, being a big show off and a big mouth, bringing donuts around for everybody, blah, 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 blah. Like that's all, but he never would get anything done, never accomplished anything, and he sucked ass all the way up to the top. And then when the time came for him to get the last promotion, like the big job, it didn't happen. Why? Because he's a big mouth, and everybody knows he's a big mouth bully. So just a karma thing, Hey-o. So I don't know. I believe in everybody. I even believe in the big mouth bully, meathead guy. We all have inside. We all have it. We all have the opportunity and the heart to do beautiful things. And it's just really up to us, each individual, to choose them. That's why I said, in the beginning, to try to preface it with realizing we're all reflections of one another. I would just like to more so, I'll bust balls, that's fine, but I also would like to encourage people to look at the level of liberation you're receiving, if it happens to be that you're a person that gets laid off or your life circumstance changes because of this job. Now focus on you and what you believe in and who you are, and let it come to fruition. It's really a beautiful time, and we all have beautiful energy to share. And if we can just get out of the way of trying to please a system that's designed to kill us, which I don't understand why, talk about it all the time, why people want to do it, but that's what they do. So, all you got to do is let yourself be free and go do what you want to do and shut off the noise, and life will bring the abundance that is meant to be, because the universe isn't looking to downtrod on anybody. The universe wants you to work together with it to help create a better space for everyone. So let me before I go here today, because I'm already going a little bit longer than I want to, but let me just say real quick about Mark Drost. I got to do another show. I got to do another Toast of Drost, but I made a comment on one of his posts yesterday. Let's see if I can get to it real quick, because I don't want to make this a whole long thing. But this guy, man, it cracks me up. Then he deleted. Really cracked me up, because I really was waiting for him to kind of attack more, because he's an attacker. But he did. He wound up, whatchamacallit, let's see here. He wound up just deleting my comment. Let's see. What did he write on this one? he's just been going on and on about the. Oh, here we go. Because he's talking about, of course, he hates Trump, as you know. And again, this is the guy that, runs a yoga teacher training business. This is what always blows my mind about it. He runs a yoga teacher training business, and he's one of the angriest people I've ever seen in my life. The silence is deafening, the complicity, the continued support from the deplorables. Every time that's what he wants to say. The deplorables, the deplorable people supporting Trump. Trump's an evil. They got nothing. It's like the same dumb comments over Nazi fascist, all this kind of bullshit. And you can't see through and see the bigger picture of how everything is being dismantled to show you that the system that you're trying to save, the system that you're supporting here, Mark, is the one that has been keeping people downtrodden for years, okay, for generations. It's keep humans suppressed. We don't even know our true history. We don't even know shit, so it's just like, and you're supposed to be a yoga guy, for God's sake. So I had commented on his thing, something to the regard of, he's a perfect example of the weakness in our society. What else did I say in that thing? I told him that he was like you are the entitled feeder that keeps the human suppression machine operating, and plus, again, and these are the kind of guy, and I don't want to pick on it too much because, I understand, yoga is, it's been around forever. Nobody owns it. But at the same time, and for those who don't know who Bikram is, you can look him up, Bikram, Bikram. That is Bikram's name. All right. So, but he's the guy that brought this particular style. I mean, this style is it's really a bigger style that he kind of created a shorter version of, and brought it here. It was very popular. Mark used to work for him. I mean, but at the end of the day, he kind of took that model, which I'm not saying there's other people who take models a business model's a business model, right? So whatever. But still, they kind of bashed on Bikram, and then he's tried to made his career out of starting off at him. And all I'm saying is what do you have to offer, Mark? You know what I'm saying? What do you have in you that comes from you that you didn't take from someone else? Right? So you're running a whole operation based on what someone else created, and then you're online crying and bitching about other people and things that they do or different beliefs and stuff. And again, you don't seem like maybe you should have maybe you should have run a car wash or something instead of yoga, because a yoga person is someone who understands higher ways of thinking and consciousness in a way that you would never, ever go out and attack in that fashion, the way you do. Do you have an opinion? Do you disagree with something? Are you passionate about something? That's great. But the way you speak, the way when people kind of go, and I wasn't the only comment that was deleted from his post on there. Other people commented on things too, and then they deleted it. And then he's got his brother, I guess, goes on and puts all these anti-MAGA stickers on there and said, and again, I'm only bringing it up because Mark's page is public. So on Facebook, it's not I'm picking on him just going in the weeds and dragging him out. He makes it all public himself. So anyway, I just had to give that update because I thought it was hilarious that, he, deleted the stuff, and I left. I go, wow. I go, he really is weak. Mark, come on, bro. Grow a pair. Oh my God. And figure out what you're good at. Maybe it is a car wash. Hey-o. It's certainly not being a yoga guru, which, anyway, all right. Let me let it go there. I think I insulted enough people here today on Operation Status Quo. Remember, this is a place of love, encouragement, and joy and oneness. I point things out because we observe the status quo of life. We flow with the status quo. We create our own flow. So, that's just basically, I try to say everything in those parameters. I'm observing from my perspective as Pete, okay, but I also try to really, take most of the ego side out of it. I realize that it's my focal point, my way of saying, but at the same time, I understand that things are bigger than just that. So, I'm observing these facets of life, of what's going on. We're learning how we can, flow with what's going on. And again, you create, you see what's going on, and then you create what you want to create. You don't have to get into it. Even with, we're talking about the Navy, talking about Mark, whatever. It's I'm not going to go down a whole hole of chasing after and and trying to prove anything to anybody. I just do me. I do me. I do my show. I do what I'm doing with the music, and this is it, you know. And I create, and I'm always here and open to share and work with other people and whatever, you know. Anybody wants to contact me, all my shit is public, so you can contact me, you know. Anyway, thank you for your time here today on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know I love you out there individually as well as a group. God bless each and every one of you. Thanks for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Send this out to your friends, family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. As you very well know, I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. Until next time, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.